group of friends round, and one of the lads who was part of the group was one of her boyfriend. And you sort of think, well, okay, that's sort of interesting, but they haven't really done a formal introduction and all the rest of it. But and probably after a few weeks, it'll all pass by, and there'll be another one come around, and the way these things happen. But of course, that sort of stayed around for a little bit longer, and then sorry, Kira, I didn't mean that. I meant that continued a little while. And then they went off to university, and you sort of, again, you judge it by what you see with your friends and your other children and so on, and you think by the time they've gone to university, then probably they will make new friends and things will change. But again, they came to the end of university and they're still together. Now, So what's clear now is that when it comes to monogamy, let me pronounce that properly, Charlotte and Kieran are on a level with other animals that mate for life. And you'll love this. Turtle doves, fair enough, black vultures, and wolves are the most obvious cases. But I trust you won't be changing these habits of staying together for a long time and doing anything stupid like vote leave in a few weeks' time. That was popular. You're a bit slow there. So at this point, I'd better say a few words about Kieran, and I appreciate that Tim and Martin will say a lot more later, so they say. So I'll be brief. First of all, I'd like to welcome you into the Sawyer family. You've been an honorary member, in truth, for quite a while, and you fitted in easily with our immediate family, and certainly Alex and I were delighted to be invited to your mini-stag at Celtic Manor to play golf a little while ago, although probably relieved, if the truth is to be told, not to go to Hamburg with the rest of you. More about that probably later. Second, I must obviously congratulate you on your choice of bride, although not your choice of football team. And third, I must encourage you to keep practicing your golf. It's not good to have to admit that your mother-in-law has a lower handicap than you do. So at this point, it's traditional to offer a few carefully selected words of advice to the bride and groom. Given that you've been together for over 10 years, you'll no doubt be tempted to ignore me, so no change there, I suppose. But I thought I should say we were delighted that you've taken the plunge to get married. On a serious note, I think I can say for Beverly and I that, remember in marriage, there will be the odd argument, and if you're wrong, just admit it. If you're right, which with Charlotte's determination to always have the last word, you never will be. But if you are, just stay silent and grin inwardly. And if all else fails, just mutter those three little words, just buy it. And when you quarrel, which I'm sure you will do at some point or other, it's always a good idea to make up before you go to sleep. That's something your grandfather Dennis said at our wedding, and it was good advice. It's much more difficult to make up in the morning, and it is indeed much more enjoyable to make up before you go to sleep. So, at this point, I must remind you what cannibals do at a wedding. They toast the bride and groom. So here's to the past. Alright. So here's to the past for all that you've learned. Here's to the present for all that you share. And here's to the future for all that you look forward to together. So please be upstanding. And let's toast the bride and groom, the new Mr. and Mrs. Kieran Kassane.
This is probably the part that everyone's looked forward to the most today. I know that we have. There's one person who probably hasn't looked forward to it as much as everyone else. So I want everyone to be as up on their feet and applauding the best man in general in this room, and that is the groom, Mr. Kieran Cassett.
Right, first of all, I'd just like to thank Colin for his kind words. Oh, right. Right, so on behalf of my wife and I thank you all for coming today. It means so much to us to have our family and close friends here to celebrate this special day with us. A very special mention must go to my good friend Joe Bradley, who's flown over from Dubai to be here today. Right, there will be a few toasts during this speech, so can you all make sure your glasses are topped up and try to avoid downing it on the first toast. Craig, that's specifically aimed at you.
Great.
Yeah, you're doing thirsty over there, mate. Right, unfortunately, it hasn't been possible to have everyone here today for various reasons. So, for the first toast, could you all please join me in a toast to absent friends and family? Sure. To absent friends and family. Right, I'd like to say a massive thank you to both sets of parents. Today would not have been possible without your help and support. Colin and Beverly, I'd like to say thank you for welcoming me into your family. It seems strange to say that, as I felt part of it for many years now. I think it's fair to say that when Charlotte introduced me to you at the age of 16, you didn't expect me to become her husband. But thank you for bringing up Charlotte to be the amazing woman I've married today. And for all your support and love you've given us over the years. Mum and Dad, I'd first of all like to congratulate you on raising the perfect son. No, honestly, I'd like to thank you for all you've done for me over the years. You've always been there when I've needed you and supported me every step of the way. And you've made me the man I am today, with obviously the exception of Dad getting me to support QPR. So please all join me to toast to my loving parents. And Colin and Beverly, James. Right, now on to the bridesmaids. I'd like to say a massive thank you to you all, Jess, Claire and Mel. You all looked absolutely stunning today. Thank you for supporting Charlotte and helping her throughout our engagement and arranging what I hear was a very, very good hen do. To the bridesmaids. Right, so now on to the most important person in the room today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce everyone to Charlotte, my new wife. I'll be honest with you, in terms of planning this wedding, Charlotte has done the majority. And I can tell you all very shocked about that. She has organised everything right down to the smallest detail, and I'd like to thank her and everyone else who's helped her put today together. Go on, Charlotte. As I'm sure most of you know, me and Charlotte have been together 11 and a half years now. We first met through some friends at the age of 12, but despite Charlotte's best efforts, we didn't start dating until 3 years later. Unknown to us at the time, some of our friends, mentioning no names, but 3 of them are on the top table today, they had a bet of how long we'd last, and the longest bet was 2 weeks. How long they were. No wonder you're not very good at gambling, Jim. So, for our first date, I I took Charlotte to Bowwatchie and Gerrards Cross. It all went well, I think. We had a lovely evening, and she was clearly smitten by my charm. The only downside was at the age of 15, my mum had to come in to the restaurant at the end of the meal and settle the bill for me. She was particularly unimpressed about the amount of cobras on the bill. Charlotte didn't seem to mind. We've had some great times together over the years, some great holidays, great times in the future as husband and wife. Charlotte, I love you so much. You look absolutely beautiful today. I'm proud to now be able to call you my wife, and I'm so happy I'll get to spend the rest of my life with my best friend. So, if any of you have got your limoncello still in front of you, then a glass of champagne will do. If you all please be upstanding and join me in a toast of my beautiful bride, Charlotte. Right, and last but not least, I'll move on to my best men, Jim and Mark. First, brilliant best men, and been great friends to both myself and Charlotte throughout our relationship. Together they organised 2 great stag do's, a family one to Celtic Manor, and one to Hamburg with the lads. And other than them losing me in Hamburg while I was wearing a blouse, I had a great time. Both of them. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'd like to thank you all once again and hope you all have a great evening. So now it gives me a great pleasure to pass you over to my best men, Jim and Mark.
Are you sure?
So for those of you who don't know, Mark and I are the 2 very lucky gentlemen to be selected as best men on this very special day. And it's special for a number of reasons. It's special because of the amazing, beautiful and wonderful couple sat next to us, Carmel and Dennis. We love them. No, seriously, it's amazing because of how much both Charlotte and Kieran mean to Mark and I. As best man, you're lucky and you're fortunate to stand alongside your best mate on the biggest day of his life, but we get to stand alongside 2 of our best friends. So that means a hell of a lot. And that makes it special for another reason, actually, because it's very, very rare that you carry as much ammo on the bride as you do the groom. All the best. It's special because there's 2 of us, so we get to share a few of the nerves of doing this and the ridiculous amount of chores that you've got to do as best man. And it's special because in the history of weddings, never have both best men been ex-boyfriends of the bride.
Evening, everyone. So, being one half of your best man team is a true honour, Kieran. What a day it's been so far. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. When you and Charlotte moved in together, I thought, well, these 2 are getting quite serious. And when you asked me to come engagement ring shopping, I was like, they're definitely getting quite serious. Let's start thinking about this. I remember you asking me to be your best man. You asked me to come engagement ring shopping. I went with you. We found a perfect ring. We talked about how you proposed in Venice. It was a very emotional day. And at the end of it, Kieran turns to me, straight-faced, and says, well, obviously you and Jim will be my best men. After the initial enjoyment and emotion, I thought, the biggest thing that's happened in our friendship, and that's how he asked me. How's the proposal going to go? Charlotte, obviously you're going to be my wife. was coming up to the weekend, you were going to Venice, I knew you were going to do, and you asked my advice, and I said, well, get it over with as soon as possible. Get it done, enjoy your weekend together, with the love of your life, your new fiancé. Now, when I said, get it over with as soon as possible, he must have used that advice for something else, because it took him 2 days to propose. Me and Jim played football, we knew that you were doing it this weekend. We wondered how, we hadn't heard. We thought his kid bottled it. Has he lost the ring? Has he fallen off a gondola? God knows what's happened. Eventually got the call and we were so happy for you. We could start planning the biggest weekend of your life, the stag do.
Sex house. What was that?
So that's all like that. Now I heard that in Venice, you'd planned to propose and the timing didn't feel right. There was a few times and you sort of panicked a bit. You had the ring in your jacket pocket. Every time Charlotte went to hug you or kiss you, you pushed her away in desperation. Thankfully though, it all went well. We're all here, and obviously she was always going to say yes. So congratulations.
So when Mark and I were preparing the speech, we were thinking about what to say and how to say it, and we had this idea of filming some of our best friends passing on messages of congratulations and their observations on Charlotte and Kieran as a pair. Now, in quite typical fashion with Mark and I, we didn't quite get the film ready in time, there's no film here. To be fair, we saved you all 5 minutes of Harry Antoine answering every single question in Shakespeare. Aidan answered every single question with a partridge joke. No, but what we realised when we interviewed a lot of our friends was actually they were coming up when we talk about Charlotte and Kieran as a pair. One of them is intelligence. Now, in the most part, it's lack of. For those of you who know Charlotte, you know that she has her fair share of blonde moments. Kieran's not too far behind, but Charlotte's definitely renowned for them. We were on holiday last year. Categories. So one person says a category, you go around the table, and each person says one. Start off with a nice broad one, get the ball rolling. I started off with European countries. Now Mark was first, he said Spain, naturally we were in Spain. Charlotte was next. Silence. Go on Charlotte, you'll go. I can't imagine it was much more tuneful than that either. Anyway, Kieran got this lovely cute habit, and then Charlotte started to tell us all one evening. So she was explaining how Kieran was waking up in the morning and not serenading her, but marinating her. Disgusting, Charlotte.
Disgusting. Charlotte isn't the only one though. Kieran has his traits. As you can tell, sometimes he's not the most confident or enthusiastic person in the world. Now, I don't think there's anyone better to describe that than famous radio DJ Chris Moyles. It's better coming from Kieran, so I'll do my best. So, Kieran is driving to work one day and there's a competition on Chris Moyles' breakfast show. There's a lyric, and you had to text in who wrote the lyric, and Kieran texted in Noel Gallagher. And he was right. So he got a call off what he described as a bird from XFM. And she said, you're right, you can come on and you can win the prize, which was a phone and some tickets to see Noel Gallagher. Now Kieran pulled over, he pepped himself up. He knew that he doesn't always come across as that enthusiastic. And he was happy as Larry driving into work. He got to work and the girl said to him, Kieran, were you just on the radio? And Kieran said, yeah. He was like, did you just win a competition? Yeah. Well, it's just, after you hung up, Chris Moyles described speaking to you like speaking to a dead person. I mean, it's a bit rude if you ask me, but fair enough.
As Mark said, you can imagine Kieran telling the story like just completely deadpan. Like, everyone was in just absolute pieces. And he told me and my housemates in London this story back in November, our birthday, and they were just in absolute like bits listening to Kieran tell the story because he has this knack of just being unintentional, genuine bloke that anyone could ever wish to meet. I mean, nothing is more down to earth than going out one Saturday night to pick up your Malik's takeaway, casually swinging around your girlfriend's parents' house to ask for their daughter's hand in marriage, while your chicken madras sits in the front seat. Did that happen, Kieran? Yes or no? It did happen, didn't it? That's Kieran, though. He's the most genuine, down-to-earth bloke, and we all love him for it, really.
Now, it was well over 20 years ago at St Joseph's Primary School.
Form of a short poem, albeit nowhere near as good as Craig's earlier. I think, come on, let's give Craig a round of applause for that. He wrote that himself. So this is our little take. It's what Kieran and Charlotte stands for to me and Mark. Here it goes. K is for Kasain, the new Mr. and Mrs., husband and wife. I is for intelligence. God only knows how you get through life.
E is for engagement. Kieran panicked in Venice. And R is for romance. Not much though, he takes after Dennis.
Now A is for alcohol. Now, many a mistake has been made after drinking. N is for Nerha. Kieran, this Barnet, mate, what were you doing?
C is for Charlotte, your stunning new wife. And H is for honeymoon, a great start to married life.
A is for all our friends. Tonight, let's lead the way. Do shots, drink beer. R is for relatives. We'll see you on the dance floor, and it means so much to see so many of you here.
L is for the likely lads, our group of best mates. And O is for Oxfordshire, the 27th of May, the most important of dates.
Now T is for the stag, Hamburg. I've been told to keep quiet. Anyway, T is also for tonight. We can all have a riot!
And finally, E is for ever. So everyone, please take your champagne.
As we raise a toast and be upstanding to our two best friends, the beautiful Mr. and Mrs. Kasain. Cheers, thank you.